Hi everybody! Today I'm drawing this super cute frog and this moth that were under the porch light a few months ago, and I saved the picture and I figured it's time for their turn. I'm not sure what happened after the picture was taken, but I like to think they were best friends eating strawberries, as you'll see in my drawing. And what better time to talk about the time I almost got my identity stolen, fresh out of college with stars in my eyes, going into the job search on the internet. Oh boy. So I graduated in 2019 with my bachelor's degree in graphic design, and I worked super hard, and my teachers were all like, "Oh my god, your portfolio is so good. You're gonna get a job right away and it's gonna be great. I bet you're gonna have a job by the end of this month." And I was like, "Wow, really? Me?" And they were like, "Yeah, so you just need to apply everywhere. You're gonna get a job, lickety split." And I was so happy. I was like, "This is it. I'm gonna have all the monies and be happy." And yeah, and so I started applying. I wanted a remote job so I could work from home. That's kind of why I went into graphic design, because I saw all these job listings, work from home, do cool art stuff, and I thought that was great. So I'm applying, and I was applying on Indeed, and there were so many people also applying to those jobs. I was like, maybe I need to get creative. So I found this other site, and it was for startups, I think. Like, it was for smaller businesses getting going, looking for small teams. And I thought, like, that's great. I can get going on a startup. It'll probably be less competitive. Cool. So I'm applying, and I see this one listing that's like, looking back, it was way too good to be true. It was, whereas all the other junior starting graphic design positions were like $13 to $20 an hour, this one was like 60 or something crazy, like between $30 and $60 an hour. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. I want that one. And I put my little application in, and I thought, I'm never gonna get this. This is too good to be true. I'm not gonna get this job. Someone else is gonna get it. Especially considering on Indeed I wasn't getting any responses, or on LinkedIn I wasn't getting any responses. So I thought, I'm gonna be steamrolled with this one. Someone else is gonna run right by me. And I immediately got an email back. This is another red flag. This whole thing's full of red flags, but I was just so excited I couldn't see any of them. So they email me back, and they're like, "Wow, we think you're a great fit for this, and we want to interview you. Will you email us your stuff, and we can have a Google Voice or a Google something meetup something?" They didn't want to talk on the phone. They wanted at first to have an interview over the Gmail text chat thing, and I was like, okay, which I think is also weird looking back. So we set up the time for the interview, and I thought it was weird that they didn't really want to set up talk about a time. They were like, "It's gonna be at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Be there, be square." You know what I mean? But that was 4 a.m. for me. So I thought, well, if that's how I need to get this job, I guess that's what I'll do. So 4 o'clock, was the next day? I think it was next day or day after. Something, it was really soon. Had my little laptop, and I was ready at 4 o'clock to go talk to these guys. And I am waiting. I join the text chat, and I'm waiting, and I say, like, "Hello, good morning." And there's no one there, and an hour goes by, and they're late, and like, I'm just sitting there going, did they forget about me? And then all of a sudden, maybe hour and a half later, I get a message. It's like, "Hello, good morning." And at this point, I'm really excited. I'm like, yeah, okay, they're here. They probably were super busy doing their cool, whatever they're doing stuff. And I responded, and then another 15-20 minutes goes by before I get another response. And it was just really, first it was really vague questions, like that would be normal at a job interview, like why do you want this position? What do you like about design? How did you get into design? And all their responses after I would respond were really uninterested, or just like they were pre-written, like great or wonderful or cool. And I just kept responding. Like, I don't know if I thought they were gonna look at them later, since it was a text chat, not a voice chat. And this went on for 45 minutes, and they were still asking with big spaces in between, just general questions. And then they get to like, how much do you want to be paid? And I was like, I don't know, whatever. I don't know. And then more big. And the whole time I'm kind of waiting for them to be like, great, we'll call you now. Or like, cool, now that we know a little bit about you, we'd love to talk with you on the phone or on the little meeting thing so we can see you. Because I'd never really, I wasn't familiar with a remote interviewing process, so I thought maybe they'd want a voice, or what is it, like a Zoom call you and look at you and like have a virtual face-to-face interview, but it was not going in that direction. And by this point, there would be points where they would respond semi-quickly, like 3 to 5 minutes between responses, and then it would go back to being like 30 to 45 minutes between responses. So I sat there all morning, and I was living at my parents' house at the time, and they were walking around like, what are you doing? And I was like, I have an interview. And they were like, what? So they're just having you sit there, they're not responding? And I was like, yeah, they're just super busy. And they were kind of looking at me funny, like, that's weird, but they weren't gonna rain on my parade. And so they message me and they say something like, great, this was the first part of your interview. We'd love to talk to you again tomorrow. And I thought, oh, okay, so tomorrow we're gonna talk on the phone or something. We're gonna have a more normal interview, because today probably was just, I don't know, filling out something for them. And then they were gonna see if they liked the first part. But because I don't know, I had no idea how this was supposed to work. And so I'm like, great, we'll talk again tomorrow. And they're like, okay, see you tomorrow at 7. I'm great. And at this point, I can't remember if it was my mom or my dad, but they were like, are you sure this is even a real company? Like, what kind of company is this? And so I took some time and I looked it up, and it was a real company, and it was operating out of North Carolina. And the lady I was talking to was the name of an employee on the website that I could see, and I was like, oh, she's like the head of their design whatever group or whatever on there. And I thought, yeah, this is real, I'm talking to so and so, cool. And then the next day I wake up early again, and I'm waiting, and it's a long wait again. And I give them a call. Like, I call the number that I see on the website of the lady I'm supposed to be talking to, and I said something like, hey, I'm ready for my second interview, and I'm looking forward to talking to you. Yeah. And so she doesn't get back to me, and I'm waiting, and I'm like, oh, well, they're probably, once again, I'm like, oh, they're busy, they're their own little thing, they're doing their thing, they're busy. And I never get a call back, but the little text chat pings again, and they're like, are you ready for part 2? And I was like, yeah, I guess. And so they start asking me more personal questions this time, like my address and where I live, and they wanted me to take pictures of the front and back of my driver's license, or I had a state ID at the time, and they're like, yeah, we need pictures of your ID front and back so we can make sure who you are. And I thought that was, it was weird. I thought it was weird, but I was like, once again, I'd never done this before, so I thought it was normal. And so I did. I took pictures of my ID and I sent it to them, and they were like, great, awesome. Now, well, whatever, we need your address because we all like you so much and we want to hire you. And I was thinking, wow, that fast? Wow, cool. I got the job. Here, let me tell you something. This is where any person that was familiar with anything probably would have dropped out, because this is a pretty common scam. And they said, we do you have a computer and do you have like all the equipment to do it yourself? And I said, yeah, I do actually. I mean, I have the full setup, I don't need anything. And they were like, no, we need to send you all the equipment so we know that you have stuff that's on par with what we have at our stuff or whatever. Like, we need you to have exactly what we have to work on so we can make sure that you have the right equipment. And I thought, okay, I mean, that's, I guess, I don't know how this works, but sure. So they sent me a big list of all the stuff they're gonna send me. And they're like, okay, in order to do this, we're gonna send you a check. Big, scary red flag right there. We're gonna send you a check, and it's gonna be enough for you to buy all the stuff from our supplier. And we're gonna send you the supplier after you cash the check. Big old sirens, don't ever accept a check. So I thought, cool, that makes sense to me. And so I said, great, send me the check. And so they did. And after my interview, my dad's like, how'd it go? And I was like, they're sending me a check. And my dad, being 200 IQ higher than me, he said, that's like the biggest scam ever. What do you mean they're sending you a check? I said, yeah. He's like, send me a check. And he says, no, that's what they do, is they'll send you a check and you go to cash it, and the check is now like a fraudulent check, and it'll bounce, but they'll get the money out of your account, and now you'll have cashed a fraudulent check. And I thought, oh my god, I'm so stupid. I'm so dumb. But anyway, I waited, and the check did arrive, and I was just holding this thing like, what do I do with it? And I messaged the people and I was like, y'all are the worst. I know what you're doing. Like, this is so stupid. Why are you doing this to people? Especially new people, you know? Like, how do you feel good trying to trick people that are fresh out of school into thinking they're gonna get a good job and then taking the money they don't have? Like, why are you trying to scam poor college students who don't have anything to begin with? And they were just like, they played it off really dumb. Like, oh no, what are you talking about? We didn't do nothing. Did you get your check? Why don't you go cash your check? And I was like, you can't, why are you still asking me to cash it? And at this point, I was actually kind of scared, because the only thing that I didn't give them was my social. Like, they knew where I lived, they knew my name, they knew my face, and I thought, are they gonna steal my identity? Are they gonna, like, what are they gonna do with all this information I gave them? And so I called the, Attorney Generals. Called the Attorney Generals, and I was like, hey, I found this weird scam. These people are pretending to be a business, and they are sending people fraudulent checks. And so they were like, unless you cash the check and they actually went through with the scam, we can't really do anything, because, you know, they didn't commit the crime all the way, it didn't go all the way through, so we can't investigate it. And I was thinking, I have the envelope with their mailing address that they used, maybe something could be done, but they couldn't. And I also called the business that they were pretending to be, and I said, hey, like, you give someone name this that works here? And they said, yeah. And I said, have you guys been hiring new people? And the lady said, oh no, did they try and get you too? And I said, you guys know? And she said, yeah, there's been these scammers that have been pretending to be our firm for some reason. Don't know why they picked us, but they've been pretending to be our staff. They've been pretending to be all, they took their logo and everything and tried to make a perfect fake email accounts for everyone. They made fake everything of the business, perfect copy with their pictures and everything, trying to scam people into thinking they were hiring. And so I told them, and she said, you're not the first person to call about it, and it really sucks. And I said, I was like, so y'all aren't hiring? And she was like, no, sorry. I'm sorry. But I thought it was important to tell them, because how creepy is that to know that someone has taken your face and made a fake email of you to try to scam someone else. So if someone thinks they're talking to you for a week almost, over text and email, and then only for it to be, who knows who that was. I went on the site too that I saw the listing on and tried to report it as fraudulent. I'm not sure. I don't know if they ever took it down. I hope they did, because there were a lot of responses to it because of how much they were offering, how good it looked. And they were probably all people like me who were kind of new and fresh and didn't know that was even a thing. Because they did their homework on how to make it look legitimate. It's really scary. And even though they didn't get my social security number, I still went to the social security office to have them. They couldn't really do anything, but they can put your number on a watch list to see if anything weird does happen. They'll tell you. So there's some information if you ever feel like you might have someone messing with your stuff. They can set it up so they'll call you or send you a letter saying there was weird activity with your number. It just bothers me, especially, like, any scammer's bad. Everyone hates scammers, but it really sucks who they target. If it's not old people that don't know better, now they're going for young people that just really want a job in their field. Because I know everyone I've talked to who they've gone to school, like, all the way through college, there's a lot of jobs that are just so hard to get. Like, actually get in with a firm or get in with a company. You worked so hard to go to school, you're really hoping that you get a job that you can pay off your school debt with, and then someone's out there trying to steal your identity, knowing just how bad you hope to get a job with all that hard work you did. It sucks. I hope in future there's some way to track them down or see, I don't know, there should be some repercussion for trying to steal someone's identity, even if you don't go through with it, because it's pretty malicious. Or steal someone, fake checks or whatever it is. It's obviously not nice. They're not trying to do something nice. It's obvious what they're trying to do. You'd think that there would be, like, if someone tries to steal a car and they drive halfway off with it, but don't fully steal the car, they probably still hopefully get in trouble. That's a different story time. But you'd hope that there'd be some repercussion for trying to get someone to cash a fake check for you intentionally. But I understand why they couldn't. It's rough. I just hope that they're probably still out there doing it, is the worst part. And I don't know, I hope no one else has fallen for their tricks, because it was scary. And I was lucky to have parents, and even my boyfriend was like, this seems kind of weird, why won't they talk to you on the phone? So next time, red flags. Let's see. All the red flags that I encountered along this: no phone call. They never wanted to talk via voice. Red flag number 2, they were super late to any interview, regardless of whether it was voice. They were super late always. Let's see. Third one. asking for my ID without even wanting to talk to me. Don't do that. Red flag number 4 is the fact that they never responded via call. Like when I called the company, I never got a call back. And that I called the real company, so maybe call ahead and actually hear somebody. It's back to the voice one, but you know, it's important. Any mention of a check too, I'd look out for. That's just so suspicious, especially if you already have a good setup. Why would they push so hard to send a check to you? If anything, you'd think they'd actually send you the products themselves that they already purchased instead of asking for a runaround with a check. And honestly, the first one that now I look at whenever I apply to anything is, does the listing look way too good to be true? Is it an entry-level position for double or triple the amount of money that all the others are offering? Because like that would be great. That'd be awesome, but in real life that doesn't really happen. So look out for things that are too good to be true. And I don't know, like you can try, go for it, but if it seems weird, it might be weird. I'd love to hear if anyone else has had a crazy experience like this, because it's something else, or if you've almost been scammed or identity stolen yourself, because it's wild. There's so many different ways they try to get people. It's really something. At least this frog is nice. This frog wouldn't scam you. He'd just bring you a strawberry. In other news, I've been really enjoying all the frog appreciation on the internet lately. Because, I don't know, growing up, everyone was kind of like, oh man, a frog. But it seems like people are coming around to appreciate their peculiar ways and cute faces. So I thought it was my turn to contribute a nice frog to the internet, and hopefully people will like this frog because he's a nice frog. I really enjoyed coloring this piece, and in my last video I mentioned that I wanted to go back to my usual colors. There was something about switching to digital that made me want to go super saturated, but generally I like my muted tones and desaturated colors because they feel old, to me at least. I like it when it looks like an old storybook. You know what I'm talking about, like Peter Rabbit and all those old storybooks had soft muted colors, and I'm not sure if it was just from the printing process or what kind of paints they used, but I love me some muted tones and an old feeling. It's always fun to experiment with new colors though, or try something different to kind of freshen things up, but I'm back to my muted tones. I have a bunch of watercolor sets that are very bright or soft, like pastel colors, which I think I'll get into when I start doing traditional again. But for now, here we are. Honestly, it's a reason I really struggled with finding my style, because there's just so much you can do. Like I struggle with picking one thing because my mood will change and I want to try something else, or you know, I see something colorful, or you know what I mean, or minimal colors. I love black, white, and red, or you know, simple palettes, and it's totally different than this, but I just get an itch to try something different sometimes. I love art that has super complicated layering, like watercolor artists that they just do the most beautiful layers of color. And you know, it takes days or to get it just like that. And I don't know, I don't have the attention span, I've learned, for things like that. When I do a drawing, usually I try to burn it out in one day while the idea is fresh, or else I just kind of like, it putters out, like I'm satisfied with what I did, and that's not good when you're trying to do a big piece. So maybe that's a muscle you have to strengthen. Maybe I'm thinking about it wrong, but I don't know. I love big pieces, but I generally do smaller pieces. because my brain is all over the place. I actually really struggle with working from references because of that, because I'll look at it and I'll get so focused on a detail or so focused on how something looks in the picture. I struggle with making it onto the paper in my own way. So I have a weird way of using references. I just look at a bunch of images, and then when I go to draw, it's like they're in there, they're in my brain somewhere. But if I'm looking at it side by side, I get kind of messed up. I don't know if anyone else is like that, but it's like it overloads my brain. I'm really happy with how this background turned out. It's kind of the simple that I'm always going for but never seem to achieve, because somewhere in my brain I say it needs to be more complicated, but a lot of my favorites do backgrounds like this, and they're simple and they communicate a setting but without having to be super complex, and I enjoyed this one. This was fun. Here's her all finished. You can see her on Instagram, and she's also up on Redbubble if you want to bring them both home with you. Bring a frog friend. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!